1 pan and 30 minutes is all you need for the simplified vegan butter chicken. Seasoned tofu and chickpeas provide the protein, and aromatic spices provide the huge amount of flavor in this rich, creamy, and smooth gravy. Hello, I'm Catherine, and this is Tasty, Thrifty, Timely. So when I set out to make a vegan butter chicken and removed the chicken, I realized after much testing that a few things can be simplified. So follow along and I'll explain how I've altered the traditional recipe as I go. First, add 1 tablespoon vegan butter to a large sauté pan and heat over medium. Tear up a 350 gram block of extra firm tofu into chunks using your hands. I find that this helps the tofu look a little more like chicken with the rough edges and uneven sizes. When the butter starts to sizzle, add the tofu chunks to the pan and season with a 1/4 teaspoon salt, an 1/8 teaspoon turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon garam masala. Cook the tofu, stirring occasionally for about 10 minutes or until the pieces are lightly browned. Traditionally, the chicken in butter chicken is seasoned and then marinated in yogurt to tenderize the meat. It ideally marinates overnight, and then the chicken is often grilled before adding it into the gravy. Most vegan butter tofu recipes follow the same sort of process and marinate the tofu in yogurt and then bake it before adding it to the gravy. I tried a few variations of this, but ultimately I decided that there wasn't enough of a difference in the flavor to justify the extra time and mess. So that's why I just season the tofu, brown it like this for a few minutes, and then I actually just cook the tofu in the gravy the whole time I'm making the gravy. It's quicker, there's less mess, and the tofu takes on some of the flavor of the gravy. Speaking of the gravy, this is a simple recipe, but you are opening up your spice drawer. So while the tofu browns, get out all those spices and have them at the ready. Once the tofu is browned, melt another 1 tablespoon vegan butter into the pan. Add a 1/4 teaspoon ground cinnamon, an 1/8 teaspoon ground cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon ground turmeric, and grate 1 teaspoon fresh ginger. Freezing ginger root makes it a lot easier to grate. Toast those spices for 1 to 2 minutes until fragrant. Then add 3 cloves minced garlic and cook for another minute. Next, add 2 cups passata or crushed tomatoes, 1 cup chickpeas, and a few more spices. 2 teaspoons garam masala, 1 teaspoon ground fenugreek seeds, an 1/8 teaspoon hot chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon cane sugar to balance the acidity of the tomatoes, and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. Let this cook for another 5 to 10 minutes until the tomatoes have thickened and begun to reduce. All that's left is to thin out the gravy and add the cream. Most traditionally, a cashew cream is used to add richness to the gravy and get that great orange reddish color. You can absolutely make a cashew cream for this recipe, but it's just another thing to make with another machine that you need to clean. So instead, I've decided to add the yogurt that I omitted earlier. It's easy, it still adds richness and creaminess, but if you don't have a dairy-free, unsweetened yogurt on hand, you can use coconut milk or go to my blog and make my roasted garlic cashew cream and just leave out the roasted garlic part. Let's finish this. Add 1/2 cup warm water to thin the gravy and stir in 1/2 cup dairy-free unsweetened yogurt. Cook for another few minutes to warm the gravy through and then serve it up. This is so full of flavor, you are not going to want to let any of that sauce go to waste. So check out my video for this super simple 2-ingredient roti and serve your vegan butter chicken with some brown rice or roasted vegetables. And if you have loved this recipe, then you're going to love this cost comparison as well, so hit that subscribe button. This recipe serves 4 and cost me $6.99 using chickpeas cooked from scratch and about $7.89 using canned chickpeas. 350 grams of tofu cost me about $3.69, and if I were to use just 350 grams of boneless, skinless chicken. If I were to use just 350 grams of boneless, skinless chicken breast, it would cost me upwards of $5 for just that small amount of chicken. If you want to use all tofu in this recipe, just go ahead and double the amount of tofu. I like to add chickpeas in because they still add protein, they add a different texture, and they are super thrifty. All the recipes I've mentioned are linked in the description below for you, as are the videos on how to make roti and how to cook chickpeas from scratch. And on the topic of chickpeas, coming up next we have a how to make falafel that doesn't fall apart video, and the secret lies in how you cook or don't cook the chickpeas. All right, enough talking. We have a delicious meal to eat and you have a new recipe to try. We'll see you in the next one. You ready to eat, Bride?